In order to do any kind of perspective, you're going to need a couple of things: your sketchbook, an eraser, a pencil, and a ruler. We're going to try this again, but this time, when we make our horizon line, we are going to make vanishing points that are on the very edges of our sketchbook. And what you need to remember, and I'm going to just use this eraser to show you, because if you look at this eraser, technically this eraser is a box, and I can see that my box is going back in perspective. Last time we were drawing the box with the end, but this time we're actually going to draw the corner of the box first, and we're going to make it go back in 2-point perspective. So what we need to do is we're going to start the box by making a vertical line. I'm going to do one above the horizon line first. Then I'm going to take my lines and go toward my vanishing point. And again, because I understand perspective, I'm not going to make them go all the way because it's just a lot more to erase later. So here I'm going to go again. I'm not going to go quite as far because I'm going to make it sort of look a little bit like my eraser. So I went down like that. Now I actually have to show the other two edges of my eraser. And I should actually turn my eraser this way, because then you'll see that it's similar. So technically I'm drawing these two edges on the other sides of that eraser. So I have to line my ruler up. This time I actually lined it up with the 1/2 inch marks, but technically, whether you're doing a 1/2 inch or you're using those whole numbers on the side, they all should line up, but I would definitely use either the whole numbers or the 1/2 inch marks if you know what the 1/2 inch marks are. Otherwise, use the whole numbers because it's much easier. Then what I would do is we're going to go from the right corner of the box to the left vanishing point. So I'm going to go from this corner to my left vanishing point. Technically, yes, I could go all the way down. I don't want to have to do that because I don't want to erase. And then I'm going to go from the left corner to my right vanishing point. And here I've got my first box in 2-point perspective. So we are going to also do 20 boxes in 2-point perspective. The next thing that I'm going to do is to show you the difference in the above the horizon line and below the horizon line, because here when I have it above the horizon, I'm seeing the bottom of the box. When it's below the horizon line, I'm going to see the top. And again, I'm going to take that first vertical line back to my vanishing point. This time I went to the other side, but that's okay because honestly it doesn't matter which side you do so long as you go from the bottom and the top of that first vertical line that you made in order to do your perspective. Then what I'm going to do, again, lining up my whole numbers, I'm going to make a vertical line over here and I'm going to make another vertical line over on this side. Then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to do the crisscross from the right corner to the left vanishing point, and that's the back right corner to the left vanishing point. And I'm going to go from my left back corner to the right vanishing point. And technically, again, here I have, this one actually looks like a cube, which is kind of cool. Another thing that I'm going to show you is we're going to draw another box on the horizon line. And when I cross my horizon line, oops, I got to line these up this way. Here I'm going to make it across the horizon line. And then I'm going to, again, go from the bottom and from the top of that first vertical line, which is the corner of our box. And I'm going to do it to the other side as well, both the top and the bottom of that first vertical line. Oops, I went a little too far right there. And here we're going to make another vertical line by lining those whole numbers up. And one more time on the other side. And then technically, this is what it would look like if the box was crossing the horizon line. So again, just like in 1-point perspective, you can actually see, oops, that you're only going to get two sides when you cross that horizon line. Similarly to 1-point perspective, I'm going to show you how to make an inside of the box. We're going to do the inside, oops, and I accidentally, that's why you got to hold your ruler really, really steady. Because if you don't, and if you don't pay attention to where your ruler is and how you're holding it and how it's going to these vanishing points, you're going to technically have a little bit of a situation where you're going to have to erase more because you slipped, which, you know, occasionally it happens, so we're going to have to get over it. And I am going to make another line over on this side, and then I'm going to do my crisscross from the right back corner to that left vanishing point. And notice how also I'm on the same side of my ruler that I'm drawing the pencil with. The point and my line are on the same side of the ruler. That's really important when I'm trying to draw in perspective. If I go on the opposite sides, it's not going to work out at all. And I got to be real careful so I don't erase my line that I wanted. And I told you I was going to do an inside of the box, and I tell you what, we're going to make it go this direction this time. Sorry, I bumped the paper a little bit. So if I go from that bottom back corner to my right vanishing point, there I can see that technically I've got an inside of the box, especially if I fill it in with a little bit of value, like we already learned. So there I can see, oh, I'm going to make this one a little bit darker because I can see that didn't show up very well. And there you go. Now I've got my 2, 3, and 4 boxes done. And you could experiment with glass boxes as well. One last thing that I'm going to show you is you could technically make other shapes. So I'm actually going to start with a square, and actually I'm going to use number 1 over here, and I'm going to show you how we could technically make other shapes. So here I'm going to actually make like an elongated, not a pyramid, but it's going to be like an elongated triangle type shape that's also sort of a cube. Oh, and I'm going to have to do it on this back side. So if I actually take my ruler and I go from this corner up, and it's got to be parallel to my other line. So if I actually go like that and I make this line right here, I can connect these two lines, but I do have to go back to my vanishing point as I do that, because this weird little triangular shape that I'm making should get smaller as it's going back to that vanishing point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all these lines. I am going to relabel this number 1. But here I have this really funky triangle shape, which if we look at this and we think about architecture, technically that almost looks like the gable of a house, or part of the roof of the house if we're thinking about that. Oops, and I probably should erase this little overage right here, but it actually looks okay right now. You could also experiment with different letters, like you could make bubble letters this way, and you could try doing different circles. Making spherical shapes in here is a lot more difficult. That's something that we will talk about later.